Hello, my name is Georgianne Ford with the Alpha Center for Divorce Mediation. I'm here today with one of our attorney mediators, Christine Lombardozzi. Hello, Christine. Hi.
Hello.
Christine is here today to talk this month specifically about what's the cost of a divorce versus the cost of a mediation service, and what type of services are available. What should we be looking for? Is that right, Christine?
Yes, it's an interesting topic because the concept of mediation, I think, is growing. The idea of mediation for divorce is growing in our area in particular. So my area is mostly Lehigh Valley and surrounding counties, but a lot of couples are realizing that the cost of divorce is prohibitive. And the average cost, they say, is 30 to 40,000, but it can go up from there. I have heard of cases that have been in the hundreds of thousands of dollars for a divorce to end a marriage. I don't know about you, but I would much rather keep that money in my pocket than spending it on, a good old fight, to get, a piece of furniture or a retirement account. And by no means am I diminishing those items. You know what I mean? Like, every case is different, and I've seen that. But, of the decade that I've been practicing in Lehigh County, I've seen expensive divorces happen. And so that was one of the reasons that drew me in particular to serve as a mediator, because undoubtedly we save clients time and money. We save them
a lot more people asking about mediation.
Yes. And I think, clients are becoming more savvy. They're doing a lot more research online. And I think a lot of people are realizing, like, hey, if we don't fight as much, we could maybe come to some terms and save all that money and maybe apply it to their kids' college fund or, to new homes, new chapters. So it's interesting. Historically, in Lehigh County, for example, or Lehigh Valley, there were mediators that would just draft a settlement agreement. But that's all they would do. And they would encourage the parties to have lawyers on either side representing them. And then the lawyers would do all of the rest of, like, the divorce paperwork, the filings, getting clients divorced.
Would that be someone that says we offer mediation services?
Well, that's kind of like the history of how mediation in the Valley started. What's happened over the last few years is there are firms now that are literally specializing in mediation services. The reason I wrote this blog, though, is because what does that mediation service mean? And I think a lot of clients don't know what to ask, don't know what to look for. And, the services are very different depending on which firm you choose. So there are some that are just going to draft your settlement agreement, and they're going to maybe help you file paperwork, maybe not. And that's it. There are some firms that will upcharge if you have to mediate, meaning if I have to sit and listen to both sides and help them come to terms of an agreement. So some of these firms are going to say, yes, we'll mediate, but we're really just drafting a settlement agreement. You have to give us your terms. So clients have to be a little careful when choosing a mediation firm, like ask some questions. And I wrote down a couple things that I thought would be very helpful. Great. So, what if you're mediating a divorce, but you have children that are on the younger side? Well, there's a lot of implications with that. And so you might want to draft a parenting agreement. You might not want to file it with the court. Some couples can be fine having an agreement written, but not filed with the court. Yes, there are risks to doing that, meaning there's no enforcement, but some couples are okay with that. As long as they have the ground rules, they're fine. But you'll need someone to help you navigate through that parenting agreement, coming up with those specific terms. understanding what physical custody means, what legal custody means. Another thing is
Can I just
that,
ask you a question about the
go
parenting?
ahead.
Is a parenting agreement if we, how do we make it legal? So there would be legal if we wanted it to.
Well, you can attach it to a settlement agreement, so then it will be part of a contract. So if somebody didn't follow that, then it would be like a breach of contract suit.
You could go either way.
But if there's really young kids, I mean, you know, you probably should file in a custody in a court. But the problem with that is then you're sort of moving toward litigation.
Uh,
You're creating an adversarial environment. So, usually what we say is start with a parenting agreement, attach it to the settlement agreement, and see how that goes. Because you can always file for custody as long as the kids are under the age of 18. There's some couples that need accounting guidance. I mean, it's not just about dividing up assets and liabilities when you're getting divorced. I mean, there are tax consequences to some of your choices. Selling a house or refinancing or claiming children as deductions. These tax considerations have to be considered when you're divorcing. And so, some of these mediation services don't even bring up the, concept of having an accountant chime in.
Is this something that you follow through with yourself or Alpha Center for Divorce Mediation does?
So the one thing that I love about Alpha is we take this holistic approach, and with our service, we offer all of these, all of it. So we have parenting mediators on standby if you need them. We have accountants, and these are certified public accountants, so they're CPAs. We have a financial, like a wealth planning specialist who works with our clients one-on-one to handle budgeting and to handle like life in the new chapter, their retirement assets. I mean, some people don't even know what to do with them. So we have those people on standby to help as well. If you have to split up retirement assets, we have firms that we refer to for qualified domestic relation orders. So, how do you split up a retirement asset? So we arrange all of that and we put that into our service. Some services do not offer that. So I think, people that are in the business looking for a mediator should probably ask these questions. The other thing is people are looking for the lowest paid option, and that's not always the best option for you. And it is true, you get what you pay for. So if you're going to pay less, you probably aren't going to get all of these extra services, even though you will most likely need them. So interesting.
So a question I'm thinking is, so if it could be a lot less money, but then it keeps, every time I don't have an agreement, I've got to keep paying more. And then I realize I do need this service, and then it's more. So I guess
I've seen it happen where, people try to save money, and I think they have good intentions. You want to not spend more than you have to, but what happens is if you don't do like that parenting agreement, right? A couple of years later, you might find yourself in court, and now you're spending another couple thousand because you have to lawyer up and because you have to take time off of work to go to court, and you have to file documents, and it's an ongoing process. So yes, some people look at certain flat fees, and we charge flat fees, and I think most of the other mediation firms do too. And that's so that we can encourage candid communication. Like, you're not going to have us say, oh, we're going to bill you $50 for a 10-minute phone call. We don't do that. Now, I don't know, I can't speak for the other mediation service companies, but I believe they're similar, flat fee, this is it. And we do that so that clients don't have to think about that. That's done, that's paid. Now we can focus on coming up with a fair and equitable agreement, coming up with a fair and equitable plan for your kids and custody, and getting you started on your new chapter.
that's always been, to me, the big differentiator with Alpha is getting that help. I remember never having that help, and what the value that would have been. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's so overwhelming, going through divorce period, but when you're going through a divorce, most people are working and they're raising kids, or they have all these extra responsibilities. You don't have time to think about all these little things. So having these services available to support you is really important. And I've seen how much it helps clients.
So your message to us is really ask the questions, what's included?
Yeah.
What services are available to me if I go through with this service with your firm?
And like Alpha in particular, we will not charge for something we're not offering, obviously. So if you don't have children and you go through mediation, you don't pay for that part.
Makes sense. Thanks, Christine. Anything else we should ask, or you feel like that's something?
I think it's kind of, I did do some homework. I mean, the average fee for a mediation is like $5,000 to $10,000. And just so you know, like if you're looking and you see somebody quoting you a price, usually the attorney mediators are quoting it based on what they think the case is going to, how complex it's going to be. And some people think their case is like easy peasy and not difficult. Trust your attorney mediator. We know, we've been around the block, we've seen all kinds of cases, and we usually have a pretty good idea how much time it's going to take to bring a case from beginning to end.
Which is where all of that is summed up in the consult, I'm guessing.
Yes. I just think a lot of potential clients don't understand, like there's a lot of behind the scenes work that goes into this. There's a lot of thought about the legal ramifications of choices people make. So there's a lot more behind the scenes than what people see.
Gotcha. Christine, thanks for coming back and sharing. This is interesting for anybody, because even if I had a friend that was looking for a mediation firm, I can help them. I've been educated. So thank you.
I'm glad I could help.
And we'll see you back next month.
Sounds great.
Any of you have questions for Christine on this topic or any other topic, or questions for Alpha Center for Divorce Mediation in general, 1-800-310-9085. They wait for your calls.